Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Radiant Spirit, a podcast about self-love and living your most authentic life. I am Jennifer Gibbons, and I am thrilled to say today I have got Danielle Lee-Hogervorst with me. And Danielle is a kundalini yoga teacher. She is also a life coach, but so much more, so much deeper. Just incredible goddess based out of Tulum, Mexico, which is just so exciting. Thank you for joining me today, Danielle.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel so aligned with, even just the title of this podcast and the energy that you're creating and facilitating here. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where we're going to go, what's going to come up in the human and the quantum and all the things. So.
Oh, so cool. I see so much with what you've got going on, and I love everything you're sharing on social media. Yeah, it's fire, girl. It is fire. And it seems like every time I see what you've got going on, I'm like, oh my God, hell yes. I want to be a part of this. What is going on for you right now? I know you're teaching classes regularly down there in Tulum and a retreat center. Is that correct?
Yeah, so currently in person, I'm teaching Kundalini yoga in person here a couple of times a week at some different really beautiful spaces. And yes, I am open and have been open to guest facilitating at different people's retreats here. I've actually done some like Shakti session, like sacred sensual sadhana activations with people doing, like orgasmic business retreats with women here. So that's been super fun to explore and just give, women the space to connect to not only their Shakti, their higher queen goddess self, but also to really like get in touch with your body and the expression of your physical body. So that's been really fun. And then I also have one-on-one intensives here in person. So people will fly in and stay here in Tulum for a few days. And we go really deep. We do all of the subconscious reprogramming work. We do some coaching, conversation work. And then, of course, we're in Tulum, so we have adventures, we go to ecstatic dances, we have the cacao, we have the fun as well. So that's what's going on in person here. Yeah.
That is awesome. And my mind is reeling like, oh my God, I need to be a part of this. And it's interesting because I am surrounding myself with goddesses that are on a very similar path, like pussy power, getting in touch with your body, and a lot of things that I feel like a lot of us were raised to believe that this is taboo or there's something wrong with that. Like banishing that mindset because we are freaking goddesses. Like, let's own it. And we need to help each other in doing that.
1,000%, 1,000%. It's been so beautiful. I'm reflecting on my journey to get where I am now. And, this year, 2024, I decided my context of the year was becoming a great woman. And, I would say last year really was like the activation of my radiance. Yes. This is, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about in the context of radiance. But my group program that I'm creating, which really feels like a masterpiece of all of the lessons, all of the codes, all of the wisdom that has led me not only into my radiance, but also in taking responsibility for my radiance.
Ooh, yeah.
But because the thing is, like, it's one thing to have this like sensual, expressive, creative, Shakti life force energy moving through us and to be feeling like a fucking queen and goddess. It's another thing to start attracting, right? Because when we're radiating, when we're like just beaming our essence, our authenticity, our truth, our expression, it's going to attract all kinds of people.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
especially in the men, the masculine, the polarity. And so for me, a big part of my journey, especially in the fall and as I started this year, was like, okay, I'm radiant. But as soon as that was received, I it was a whole other like level of process activated of how do I also be conscious and responsible with knowing how powerful, how radiant, how magnetic I have become. So it's a really interesting, beautiful journey
Yeah.
into, and then, you know, in continuing to, okay, well, radiance is one thing. I want to become a great woman. So how do I, you know, consciously navigate my radiance?
That
So
is such a great
yeah.
point, and you've stated so beautifully in explaining that, and it very much mirrors what has been going on with me. It just very recently coming to light that, oh wow, and not necessarily attracting male attention, but more the space I've been holding for people who my friendships that have been um more draining than nourishing. And it's like,
Mhm.
I have to be very cautious about where I'm giving my attention. That is it's not taking care of self if I'm not, you know, vibing everywhere. Yeah.
And this is the other part. And thank you for bringing this aspect too, because, you know, as we become more radiant, it's like, yes, you know, the masculine will be, but everybody will. They'll be like, oh shit, this is you know, when we're this radiant, it's rare at this point. You know, it's rare at this point to witness somebody be so expressive, to witness somebody be so authentic and you know, free and in inside of themselves. And so yeah, we attract all kinds of people, and we have to also these are our standards and our boundaries, right, of like recognizing what is parasitic,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
where it's like a mutual, we're plugged into each other, we're on the same frequency. This feels like it's nourishing you and it's also nourishing me.
Right. I had to really come to some hard terms with myself and recognize where and really learning how to tune into my body, as you know, it's just a constant growth process, constantly changing, growing, and learning how to own this radiance and own it responsibly, like you said. But that means I need to, like, for everyone going through this, I feel like if you're listening to this, we're all on this journey. But learning how to tune into your body and recognize what is nourishing you and what is depleting you, and learning how to set those boundaries. I know for myself, it was like, oh, I don't want to be an asshole. And I was like, I really felt like I was being an asshole to set boundaries. But, you know, that's what it looks like sometimes.
And you know, I've had to work on this big time, you know, even and especially with my mentors, like no, like use your no. No, period is a full sentence. You trigger somebody into being like, no. You say no, they're like, oh,
Yep.
no. And yes, it may and likely will trigger a lot of people, but it's also in the longer term going to help people see and understand that they can respect themselves more as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
absolutely. And that sacred no is so valid. And yeah, like you said, it's helpful for the entire situation, even if it is triggering to someone, or yeah, however that is received, really not our individual responsibility as to how it's received. But I know for myself, being a perpetual people pleaser, it has been really difficult for me to establish those boundaries. And I suppose it's getting a little easier every time, but it definitely is taking a lot of practice.
1,000%, 1,000%. And something this is great. I want to like put a pin in this and go back to something, because I think this is really interesting, is when we're talking about, things and experiences and people and conversations that are nourishing for us versus that are depleting us. Something that we can also utilize in the context of navigating that no, and navigating like not feeling like a bitch about it, is like the context of, if this is depleting me, that's actually taking away my magnetism, my radiance, right? Because it's like, if it's nourishing me, it's continuing. Like, I just imagine I'm like, literally beaming out of every pore in my body. And if something's depleting me, or if I have a limiting belief, or, all of these things are like little like stickies covering the holes, covering different holes. And so if you're in a situation, a relationship, even a conversation that is, you're recognizing it's starting to deplete you, well, it's like, okay, well then slap a sticker over one of those, like those light beams, right? So then it's like, okay, that's starting to happen. I have the opportunity right now to heal it off and say no. Or I can let it kind of just like chip away at my radiance bit by bit by bit.
That's a beautiful analogy and helps me so much. I recently have been so blessed to be able to get a human design reading, actually a series of 3 human design readings with Katya. Do you know Katya Stepanov? I don't know if you know of her. I know we are all connected through Jules, the creatrix. So that is how I met her. And learning more about myself and how to really tune into my body and listen to my body. I have sacral definition. So really listening to my sacral and my throat, listening to what is my first response and how does that feel in my throat. So really trying to practice with that. And when it comes down to, do I want to spend time with this person? Do I want to do XYZ? Do I want to take this phone call? Whatever it is. And really trying to allow my sacral chakra and my throat chakra to communicate that to me, what my body is telling me. And it's interesting, in meditation, I've been able to see kind of like what you were, like the analogy you're saying, when you're putting a piece, like a sticky note over that hole where I was, giving away or losing some of my sacral chakra. Like I was seeing the orange flowing and it was blocking me. I was blocking myself. And so that helps me, like, as far as being able to tune into meditation. I'm very fortunate that I oftentimes will see the colors, and I'll be able to see the colors of my chakras and get a better understanding of what's happening with my energy. But I'm learning, always learning, always growing,
Life school, is like, we came here to learn. We came here to have these experiences. We came here to fuck up. It's not about, oh, I fucked up. It's like, okay, I fucked up. Now we learned the lesson. Now we're going up.
Yes.
So,
I love that. Yes.
I mean, I big time to terms with this too. But something I'm gonna add a little zing to this analogy, because it just came through. It's like, okay, so we're putting the stickers over top of the holes, but it's, you could even argue that we're putting like push pins into them, because we're also hurting ourselves. We're hurting our soul every time we're not listening to ourselves, every time we're not speaking our truth, every time we're not honoring ourselves. Mm-hmm. This is the subtle soul suffering.
Yeah.
By not fully listening to ourselves, by, me too. Oh my God, my whole life, like people pleaser to the max, like crazy. And yeah, so it's like the subtle soul suffering of people pleasing and all these little things. And so, this again was something I had to come to terms with recently, and I've been sharing about on my emails. I've been sending like almost daily emails to my people recently. But this was a big thing recently, was this, it's one thing when we're going through something really, really dense, really, really like intense. It's like, okay, I want to get out of this. I want to shift something. It's very clear, it's booming. But when it's these like very subtle, like the subtle soul suffering is like, to start to pull this stuff out is what takes us from good to great. And this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm here for us. And it's a journey. It's a journey of a lifetime because it is so subtle. So
Yeah, all those little baby steps though absolutely add up. And I do think it's those of us that are now in a place where we are here to help others like do their own healing. Well, we only know what that looks like because we've been to the darkness too. And I know this may happen with you as well, but I know oftentimes people will, I'm not going to say accuse me. That's not the right word. Accuse is not the right word, but there is a lot of misconceptions about my past when people see my face and they just assume, oh, you've had a very cushy life and everything's been so easy peasy. And I'm like, oh God, if you Googled me, you would know that's not right.
totally.
Okay, but yeah, I'm glad I can put on this face for you. But like those tough lessons were necessary so that we can help other people that are also going through some really tough shit. Like we're fucking warriors and it took hard work to get where we are, but I definitely subscribe to the philosophy that while we are here in these having these human experiences, we are spiritual beings and these human experiences are for us to learn lessons. We that is if we're not learning, what the fuck are we doing here? Like keep learning, keep growing. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I've said this before that, you know, the day I'm not the day I'm not growing or evolving or receiving in some way, it's like, okay, well then I'm done here, it's like, why am I here? Like, and I think that because I can feel in my body when I say the word like lessons, like I feel like, like, it feels like it's hard, or like it like brings back like school times. And so I think there's like, yeah, it comes through in like lessons and codes and wisdom and extracting from a neutral state, a neutral space, the codes and the insights from, the experiences that we've had. And that is the lessons. But I like to bring in like other energies to it too, because I know sometimes like, and for me too, is like lessons, more lesson. Yeah, we redefine it. We bring new life, new energy into it. But I could not agree more. I could not agree more.
That is beautiful. And I need that sometimes. That shift of perspective is super helpful. And I needed like over the last few weeks, I'm gonna say 2, 3 weeks, is when I had a very big realization come up, and it came up in meditation where it was very clear that I was giving away energy that was depleting me, and it was depleting my life force was what came up in my journaling, and I went, oh. But that heartbreaking moment when it's a friendship that you're like, oh no, this is the feeling that came up from me was devastating. That like several different things, like, oh my gosh, how long have I been doing this to myself? And am I just like hurting everybody in the equation by dragging this out as long as possible, feeling like a dick for, being like, well, we're not really vibing. And that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally hear you and I totally feel you. And this past week for me was also huge in this, like some big, deep realizations, around patterns that I've had, cycles that I've moved through my whole life, and seeing and recognizing and honoring, how I was raised, and there's nothing wrong, there's nothing bad about it, but it's just like, yeah, when you have that like initial awareness and realization of some of these like patterns that we want to break, is like, ooh,
Yeah.
like, damn, like,
I
oh,
remember that, like, I was just feeling initially, I had to cry for like a whole day. I was just like, it's this feeling like, how am I going to move forward now? I don't even know like what this looks like, that fear, and letting that fear of change hold me back. Um, I mean, I moved through it. We're past it, but it was devastating.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know it is. And then, you remember like there's, with any intention that you set, with anything you desire in your life, there's always a point in the process quite early on where you have to eliminate, have to clear the old. It's like, okay, my intention is I want a new wardrobe. Okay, I look in my closet and it's jam ass packed. God's not going to bring me more clothes because there's no room in my closet for the clothes. If I am committed to my intention and desire of wanting more clothes, I have to clear out some of the old clothes that doesn't align with the new wardrobe or the new me, the new being that I'm working towards. So it's like this very like bittersweet and also trusting, right? Because damn, like if I'm gonna really trust that more aligned clothes or people or experiences or opportunities are coming, like, do I trust that deeply enough that I can end things, that I can, quote unquote, eliminate things, people, clothes? Do I have that level of trust to also know that, it's like, I've been saying this a lot to my clients and friends even too recently, is, is like, hey, God, like you have your little conversation with God. Hey, God, okay, like I'm feeling all the things around this, like, but it's this or something better.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something about like our minds that want to overlay this story that it's not going to be better. Like this is the best that it gets. And that's bullshit. Like the more healing, the more learning, the more there's always something better that is beyond what we could even imagine. Like even
I
where I'm at now, and I imagine you can relate. It's like, wow, like a few years ago, this where I'm at right now would have blown my fucking mind. And
I
now it's just my life.
I don't know if you saw this a few days ago. I did it because it was a leap year, right? It was February 29th, and I just finished a program with one of my teachers, and so I was reflecting on the 4 years, and from the photo of where I was 4 years ago to the photo of where I was 4 years later, but also like who I was and where I was. I live like there's zero part of me that could have ever imagined I am here where I am, even recording this podcast, having an email list, like even knowing who I am as a person, like none of it. So it really is, and it's such a blessing to be on this journey of evolution, to try not to trust in the unknown and be like, all right, I'm going to take the leap and I know that God's going to catch me. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Buckle up and hold on. This is going to be an epic ride, right?
And, in the context of elimination is like, I used to say this a lot to clients and to people, is like, okay, so you're gonna take the quantum leap, you're gonna jump off the edge of the cliff into the abyss of the unknown. You can't take all your shit with you. You think you're gonna run off the cliff with a suitcase? No, this is part of the elimination. You have to like trustingly clear, like leave it there. So it's not easy. I will not say that on any level it's easy. But when you're wanting to quantum leap, when you're wanting to see a big shift in your life, you like speak out loud, your intention, and you're gonna get all of these tests, right? It's not gonna be like, hey God, I want confidence. Everybody wants confidence, everybody wants courageousness. Okay, well, God's not just gonna like insert that into your bloodstream. No, God's gonna give you a series of tests and opportunities to choose courage, to choose confidence, or whatever it is, so it's like, it's
Yes.
thing, right? Where we're like, but God, I didn't ask for this. I wanted X, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yes, you did ask for this, actually.
God, I want to become a great woman. I didn't ask for, this, like, yeah, you did.
Yeah, like careful what you wish for, pray for, whatever, because what your mind wants you, like the sunshine and rainbows and fairy tale that your mind wants to create that looks like, which might be very much you're going to get those moments, but you've got a lot of growing to do to get there. It's like we aren't born into this world at a full sprint. We've got to learn how to take those crawl and baby steps, and we fall a lot. Um, and it hurts sometimes, but when I think back, like just thinking 4 years ago, whatever, like I'm coming up on 4 years sober, so who I was 4 years ago is a very different version of this. So yeah, thank you. But what I thought my life was like then was perfect. Like on paper, everything was like, oh yeah, I've got like the perfect marriage. I'm even driving the vehicle I love. Everything is just like perfect. I live by the ocean. This is exactly what I wanted my life to be. And little did I know that I think back and I'm like, oh my God, I was miserable. I was so miserable. And just because I had lined my life out on paper, what I thought I was supposed to be or what was expected of me was really what that was. And now throwing those expectations out the freaking window and being like, all right, so no, what do I really want when I listen to my heart and I listen to my sacral, I listen to my body. It's like, oh, that's way different than what this little idea that I'd mapped out on paper looked like, I know,
And this is exactly where I was too 4 years ago.
Really? Wow.
I was a dancer. I was living in Amsterdam. I was on this pursuit of being, in a world-class dance company. And I was auditioning my fucking ass off. Like people would be like, oh, this is my third audition. I'm so tired. I was like, yeah, I need fingers and toes to count how many auditions I've done in the past few months. And I'm kind of rabbit holing here. But oh, we were talking about like who we were versus who we've become. Yeah, it's really beyond my wildest imagination of, yeah, this level of embodied living and expression and authenticity and radiance and spirit. That's what I would really say, because, and this was my intention, right? We moved into the pandemic and I realized like I have a fucking epic resume, but I don't have any sense of who I am as a person.
Yeah.
Even over the past few years, it's like every now and then I'd be asked like, are you happy? And I'd be like, no. And so it's an ongoing journey, as we like realize who we want to become, and also allowing ourselves to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Because I would say I didn't remember a lot of those years of my life because I wasn't in my body, because I wasn't enjoying or like really present inside of the experience of it.
Yeah.
It was about the hustling. It was about the people pleasing. I was so stuck in my mind that I wasn't able to really like soak in the process.
Yeah.
So
Wow, I relate to that so much. And as far as like learning how to come into my body, I noticed the biggest shifts happening with Kundalini yoga. That when I was introduced to Kundalini yoga, I also do vinyasa flow, but the Kundalini is, and I also had a hip replacement like last May, so coming up on a year. But some of like the vinyasa or other yoga, like Bikram or whatever, was just really painful for my body. So Kundalini was a beautiful way for me to be able to get into a practice that wasn't really painful. Now I am so stoked to say that I have so much mobility that I'm actually starting my yoga teacher training, Kundalini and Vinyasa flow, also mindfulness at the end of the month. So in a few weeks, I start training.
wow,
I
and
would have
so
never imagined. So
amazing.
cool.
It is so cool. And I could not agree more. Like Kundalini yoga for me is what kickstarted and catapulted me into the version that I am today. The same thing, I sounded, okay, I wanna know who I am. And Kundalini yoga, and it took me a little while to like realize like what the F I was doing. So I was just like, what is this weird thing? But for me, when I started doing a daily practice, my life, boom, boom, but like it shook everything up and it dropped me into my truth. And, this is why too, I've created a membership where because I'm in a phase where, I did the Kundalini teacher training. I've facilitated multiple like practice groups and Kundalini spaces, and I've done all the teachings, and I, got to Tulum, and I became known as like the Kundalini queen and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, and there's far more, as you said, at the beginning, like there's far more than just these, like, I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher or I'm a life coach, and so I share that because I do have this space where, for people that are in that phase of their journey where they want to just tap into themselves, they want to expand, right? It's called the portal of expansion. So you can, and also like all these recordings to find, what is a daily practice that's going to serve you, like all these and longer practices too. So like the Kundalini yoga, I could not recommend it more. I could not recommend it more. And I can see you're even wearing your tantric mala, which I love. I'm like, maybe I should grab my too. Jules made it for me, actually.
Awesome. I made this on at Jules retreat. And yeah, when we got to go mining for crystals and just, yeah, a beautiful extended weekend over the fall equinox. That was just life-changing, and those connections are just fucking beautiful. Amazing.
Yeah, so like blessings, blessings, blessings to the Kundalini yoga. It's been such I mean, I don't know where I'd be, I definitely wouldn't be where I am right now without it. Um, and yeah, it's been such a fundamental part of my journey that I'm so grateful for. So
Oh, same. I love how you're saying, like, when you're working with someone individually, how or it sounds like you kind of ease them into what is going to work for them, what's comfortable for them. I know that, I don't know. I feel like I have tried getting people like, hey, do this practice with me, and maybe not taking into account that this might be a bit much for someone who hasn't been practicing this for a while. And that is an excellent reminder to me that when I am trying to introduce somebody that has never done Kundalini before, or even somebody that has like even a regular breath work or meditation practice to baby step it. Because I can see where even for myself, trying to jump in full force would have probably had an adverse reaction and kind of turned me off for longer.
Yeah, I think it depends, right? Like some people, like pretty like I went pretty deep pretty quick. So it's like it just depends on kind of the readiness. Yeah, exactly. The readiness of the human, right? Because when Kundalini yoga finds you, your soul is ready.
Yes.
The human just sometimes has, the resistances. And this is even how, when people will be, you know, people will say they're going to come to class, here in person or whatever, and then people don't show up. It's like, it's okay. There's just some subconscious resistance. We make excuses or no, this is not going to work because of this, or like, I'm not feeling good, or it's too far. Or like, oh, I stayed at the beach a little bit too long. Like we have, just comes up with all of these excuses.
Yes. Oh, the beach is one of my favorite places to do my practice. Oh,
Mm.
so blessed to be right by the ocean. I know it's colder where I'm at here, so it requires some layers, but I love it. And just being able to like chant at the ocean is just so powerful. I love it so much. Um,
I love it too. And I like the warmth here too.
I really am, and putting out that intention. I would love to be able to participate in what
Mm.
you've got offered. What I know you've got a lot of things going on, and when the time and everything, when the stars align, it will be exactly what it's supposed to be. But speaking that out into the universe, I would love to participate in God, it's one of the amazing offerings, at least one of the amazing offerings you've got going on there. That'd be so nice.
It's I've got a lot. I'm a generator. So, even what I share is only the in-person stuff, right? I've got a whole bunch of things for people around the world as well. So,
Oh,
um, yeah, it's the blessing. It's the greatest gift of my life to be able to create these different opportunities for people to tap in to
yeah.
themselves, to tap into, as we haven't gone into this rabbit hole, this divine wormhole yet of superstar seeds, what I call my people who are recognizing, they're here for a greater purpose. Their soul is here. They've got that star seed energy and recognition, right? We all have it. We're all star seeds, but
Right.
we have to have a certain kind of consciousness or awareness and like relationship with ourselves where we realize that we can activate that in this superstar also kind of way of like, okay, I'm here, my soul is here for a greater mission, and I'm here, I'm ready to have it be seen, to express it, to own it, to have the spotlight on me. And how do I hold that? Because there's a lot in that. And this is what we see, right? Is, again, right back to radiance. It's one thing to step into the spotlight. You see these celebrities, they're like, my God, now I'm in the spotlight. That's great. But then how do you hold that?
Yeah, that sounds terrifying to me. It does. I'm like, baby steps, baby steps.
This is the work that I do in my mentorship, right? In my virtual mentorship, also, if people come meet me one-on-one in person, this is what we do, the energetics, right? Because once you have that rooted sense of self, once you have that self-value, that second chakra energy moving, that creative life force, once you feel your confidence and your self-certainty and your I can power, when you're connected to your heart, to your mission, to your soul, to your love of what you're doing and what you're here for, when you then start to connect with your sound, right? Your sound is so powerful. Our sound is so powerful. And again, this is one of my favorite things about Kundalini yoga, is that we're really activating our sound, not activating your voice, activating your sound code through
the vibration, like through your,
yeah. You know, our expression, right? When you're tapped into and able to hold your greater vision, and then when you've got a strengthened aura, right, to be able to hold and navigate all of this. And so this is just like the conversation of responsible radiance on like another level. So that was great.
I love it.
But yeah, so this is, you know, this is what I'm here for, is the journey of us into our creativity, into our confidence, into our in an authentic and likely unconventional way.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that you're saying that, because authenticity very rarely looks conventional. And I think that, I know for myself in my journey, that has been where the resistance comes up, because I have this idea that it's supposed to fit into some sort of box, and this is what that looks like. And yeah, I'm going to be authentic, but it can't extend outside of these parameters. But that's bullshit. Like, just to lean into it and really go for the full authenticity of what my heart and my body, my sacral are saying.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
you know, and I've been connecting these dots too recently, of us in our authenticity is us in our radiance, us connected to our truth and honoring and respecting and taking action on our truth is us in our radiance. You know, because, and I've been using this analogy as well of like the human onion. We've got all of these layers, you know, this is just a different like form of the analogy I used earlier, but we've got all of these layers, all of these things, all of these things. And, you know, the work that we do, whether it's one-on-one with mentorship, you know, getting into the limiting beliefs, whether it's with Kundalini yoga, whether, you know, all these different methods, we're peeling off those layers so that what's left is your truth,
yeah.
is your essence.
Right.
Once we get to that, like that's us radiating, that's us beaming, that's us like in full fucking like exalted expression.
Yes. I love it. Oh, that's beautiful. Now, I'm also curious, like, you have a website, I imagine, right, where people can find what you're doing, and you're this course you were talking about, the Radiant one. Is that what it was called?
The radiant. Well, yeah, I
Or
have. That's the one that I that's the one that I don't know. I mentioned a couple things, but yes, that is the
you've
one
got
that
so much going on to offer. I love it.
that is the one that yeah, has been birthed synchronistically with us having this conversation.
So
Yeah,
cool.
that is the radiant one. And even that, you know, the journey into me like owning that title, that phrase, which came through in an ayahuasca ceremony.
Beautiful.
That's a whole other wormhole we could go down. But you know, it's yeah, this is what I'm all about. And this is the inner energetics, the being returning, right? My like catchphrase, at least right now, is for the radiant one is your great no, your great return home, right? Because this is home, this is our truth, and it's just us peeling these layers back.
Right.
Remember.
Exactly. To remember.
Remember our radiance.
Mm.
To remember our realness. To
Yes.
remember our regality. Our royalty, you know, like how do I hold myself in that kind of way so that, you know, I'm not only radiant, I am calling in, I am naturally calling in and magnetizing people who are ready to receive me at that confidence, that self-worthiness, that self-honoring version of myself.
Right.
How do I walk through time and space with this new energy?
Yeah. Oh, I can see it and feel it. And so many mirrors. I love this. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. It's, yeah, just fucking beautiful. Yeah. And I am loving your background too, because it is like your aura, like just beaming out around you.
Make it even gooder. There we go.
Ooh, even gooder. I love it.
Yeah, I teach Kundalini yoga here too as well. And it's good. I love it. It's the radiance, you know, it is. It's
Yeah,
reality. It's that radiance. So yeah, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for us.
that's
Because it's,
beautiful.
you know, it's important.
Yeah, I feel like important isn't even like a strong enough word. It is like, I don't know, the work that you're doing and helping people connect with that inner star seed to remember who the fuck they are and why we are here, why our spiritual beings have chosen to be here right now. Um, I don't know. I know that like there's a lot of important jobs out there and things like that, but uh, in my opinion, I think that this work is hands down the most important work happening on our planet right now. And I just want to honor you in that and thank you for this work that you're doing. And thank you for setting such a fucking beautiful example of what this looks like to learn how to tune into yourself and not only embody yourself, but share that to help others. It's just, it's amazing. And I'm so, yeah, I'm so honored to be able to share this space with you. So yeah, thank you.
You know, thank you. Truly, truly, thank you. It's such a gift, first of all, to be able to be here to have this conversation, to be able to have these conversations. But yeah, you know, it's funny, you know, to receive such a beautiful reflection and remember the magnitude of this work, you know, because it's just so like, you know, sometimes when we're doing our life's work, it's just like, duh, you
I
know, like,
know.
yeah, this is just what I do. What I do. Okay, what, you know, it kind of becomes like a duh inside of us, like not a duh that other people should do it, but like a duh, like this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
I'm just really receiving the reflection that you shared and you offered because it's also important for us to have that, you know, we do all the limiting belief work. We're like quantumly up leveling and continuing to jump off quantum cliffs. And it's like, yes, and we're already, you know, to whoever's listening to this is like, you are already so deep, so far along in your path. We always think that it's this like, oh, I have to wait, I have to become this thing, but like where you are right now is so perfect, and you can alchemize all of this into your life's work as well, into your superstar seed, right? Like exactly where you are is like all you have to do is go, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready to shift this script.
Yeah.
I'm ready this timeline of superstar seed activation now. You know, no more woe is me. Like, let's
Yes.
like, you know,
Exactly.
it a little bit.
Yes, exactly. And I love how you say this and mention this because I genuinely believe, and I say often, that wherever you are right now in this moment is fucking perfect. Absolutely perfect. There is divine reason behind everything. And we are always learning lessons, whether we're aware of that in the moment or not. It might be something that's going to come up for you later and go, oh, that's what I had to learn from that. But
Yeah.
they're all important lessons. And it is absolutely up to us to be like, okay, okay, I'm ready to shift now. Let's level up. Yeah. And we do have that power to do that when we're ready. And whenever we're ready is perfect.
Mhm. Exactly, exactly. And this is where we have to release the comparison, right? Of, oh, this person is there and I'm only here, or this person is there at this point of their life, at this age, and na 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 na. It's like, okay, but if we're here to be authentic, if we're here to be unconventional, then and this is a big thing I had to realize too, is like my story is not like everybody else's story for a reason.
Yep.
My path is not conventional like everybody else's story that I've seen, even, the other life coaches, and there's a whole other conversation we could wormhole down, but like, especially to anybody listening to this and everybody listening to this, especially if you do not see yourself so much in all of these role models, there's a reason for that too.
Yeah.
Because your path is different.
Yeah.
This is the Aquarian age.
Yeah.
We're to shine, to radiate, to beam in our uniqueness, in our individuality, in our unconventionality. This
Yeah.
makes us unstoppable.
Absolutely.
So, I could talk about this. Well, I will talk about probably for the rest of my life, but
I feel like we could have so many more conversations and sharing this. I would love to be able to have you back to share your light in this space. It would be such an honor. Yeah.
Yes, this is, and thank you, thank you for activating your superstar seed in, you say, oh, I'm so nervous and so, the thought about being in the spotlight. This is your own little spotlight right here.
It
right?
is.
And the thing, we think the spotlight is okay. I'm on a stage with thousands of people looking at me, boom. And yes, there is that element of it. And it is also, I'm spotlighted in a group conversation, or I'm spotlighted in facilitating and having and holding this podcast.
Yeah.
So it comes in all ways and all levels. And thank you for listening, deciding to listen and take action on your superstar seed's desire to have this podcast, to facilitate this space, to hold this space for others to receive you, to receive, these conversations. So
Thank you for saying that. Just sitting in that and what has come through for me as you're saying that is like you're given what you can handle as you're ready. And this is my 18th episode, so this is very new. About, like, I remember saying and voicing around the summer solstice, right about when I was coming, like, getting better with my hip, where I could like walk without a walker and my cane and everything. And I remember thinking, wow, wouldn't it be cool to have a podcast someday? And then bam, here we are. I'm like, yes, doing it. But it's all baby steps, and it's exactly what it needs to be in this moment. It's perfect.
1,000%, 1,000%. Yes, well, to close this and to circle back to your question about website, I do not have a like official website right now. I am working on it, but probably ways. I mean, I'm sure you'll like drop some links below. But Instagram is a great place to stay connected. I have a free email list where I'm like dropping the codes like it's hot and juicy, and all my life school lessons as they're rolling through me, every day. And what else? Yeah, or email. We can also drop my email for now. And that's, I have landing pages and links for all the different things that I've got going on as well. But those are the easiest ways to for sure be able to connect with me in some way.
I love it. Yeah. And Instagram is how we are connected. And yeah, it's social media. Yeah. Like, I went through a phase where I was kind of turned off and it seemed like, I don't know. But I also had to learn that where my frequency was and where I was vibrating, what I was attracting through social media was not making me feel good on the inside. And I ended up, going through a personal shift. And now when I get on social media, I get to see amazing, uplifting things like people like you posting really amazing content. I love your content. I love that I believe you were doing a challenge where you were going live every day, and I was not catching you live for some reason, but I was catching the replays. And so yeah, that is freaking awesome. In fact, it was one of those recordings that I went, oh my God, I need to have her on my podcast. And so so such an honor to know you, and I really look forward to being able to do this again with you.
I
Yeah.
feel a little serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I look forward to more magic to come, and maybe you'll be here in person one day. Who knows?
Oh, I know it. I know it. I feel it. Yeah. Yeah. It feels like something, it's a must in my life. Yeah.
We will
We'll see how that plays out. I'm excited to find out.
Who knows? I surrender. We put it up to God and let's see what happens.
Like, you heard the request. Ooh, okay.
Amazing. Yes, I love it. And
Awesome. Well, yeah, I will be dropping links as to where to contact you, because I'm sure that there are people interested in just, yeah, at the very least, following you and getting those downloads, those codes. They're epic. And you guys, if you want to check out what I'm up to, I will leave a link to embracelove.life where you can see my herbal products. You can book a consult, a session with me for Reiki, or I do intuitive Reiki healing sessions. I do them remotely and also in person here in Humboldt County. And what else? I feel like there's other stuff, but it's all on my website. I'll leave a link. Y'all can find me. Also, previously recorded episodes and guided meditations. There's a ton of them out there. So I will leave those links. And again, thank you, Danielle, so much for being here with me. Yes. Satnam. Beautiful. And to everyone, tune in again next week for a new episode of Radiant Spirit. Thanks so much for tuning in.